I'm here spending the afternoon at the Ataturk Cultural Center in Taksim Square. The Ataturk Cultural Center actually burned down in the 70s and was recently rebuilt to what it is today. Today, you'll be able to enjoy three different halls where they have concerts, ballets, operas, and musicals. You can find different restaurants to eat here, as well as a bookshop and different rotating art exhibitions. I'm actually going to see one of the operas today called La Traveste, which is an Italian opera about love, betrayal, and romance.
First, before the opera, I'm going to take you around the Ataturk Cultural Center and show you what there is to see at the time of my visit during February 2025. So, when I went, they had three exhibitions from three different artists. The first one that I went to see was Frida Kahlo, and they also had an exhibition from Andy Warhol and from Picasso. So, let's go to Frida Kahlo first. So, some background information about Frida Kahlo. She was a Mexican artist known for her vivid, emotionally charged self portraits that often depicted themes of identity, pain, and cultural heritage. She had a very rough childhood, being hit by a bus, having to do multiple surgeries throughout her life, and she also suffered from polio. She married Diego, who was also a fellow artist, but they had kind of a rocky relationship, which you can really see in her art throughout the exhibition. This exhibition at the Ataturk Cultural Center actually does not have any of her paintings, but her written work. So it's a lot of poetry, a lot of stories that she wrote throughout her life. And you can see how the different changes in her life affected her writing. And it was really interesting to read her works and experience her life through her own words. The exhibition itself was fairly small. It was just, I think, 4 different rooms of her work. And then upstairs, they had kind of a visual diary of her work displayed in a giant book, which was cool to see. The exhibition at that Czech Cultural Center cost 350 lira, which is about $10. Do I think that it was worth it? If you're a fan of Frida Kahlo, then yes, you can definitely go see your work, but I don't think that it's worth 350. I think it was a little bit overpriced, but what in Istanbul is not overpriced these days. What I did like about the exhibition is the whole concept of the different rooms and the theme of the exhibition. Each room had a different theme, a different part of her life, which was interesting to walk through and experience. The writing itself was very emotional. You can tell from the words that she was writing. It is translated in English and into Turkish from Spanish. At the end of the exhibition, of course, they had a little gift shop with different Frida Kahlo pins, bags, notebooks, some accessories for girls. So moving on, we have the Andy Warhol exhibition next. This exhibition was free. It didn't cost anything. It is 2 floors. So a little background about Andy Warhol. He was a famous American artist leading the pop art movement. He is known for his very colorful and bold depictions of celebrities and everyday objects. Andy Warhol also is famous for blurring the lines of commercial art and fine art. So in the exhibition, you'll be able to see his famous artworks of Marilyn Monroe and Michael Jackson. There's a portrait of Mao Zedong from China upstairs, and his Campbell soup drawings are displayed like everywhere. There's 3D cans throughout the exhibition that are just really cute to see. Andy Warhol is also a leader in screen printing, which allowed him to mass produce art. This was kind of like a slap in the face to the commercialized industry that America was becoming and how everything started to become mass produced. So he was like, well, if you're going to mass produce all these things, I can mass produce art. And then the question arose, if art is mass produced, is it still art? Is it different from fine art? Like, this is how he started blurring the lines between commercial art and fine art. One last thing that Andy Warhol did was he opened a studio called The Factory in New York. This became a hub for artists and musicians and celebrities. He made a big impact on film, music, and fashion, which definitely cemented his place in the 20th century. Lastly, I visited the Picasso exhibition, which was upstairs. This exhibit is also free. Of course, you know who Picasso is, but he is a Spanish artist, most known for his paintings, but he also experimented with different mediums such as ceramics, photography, lithography, drawing, and etching. The exhibition at the Ataturk Cultural Center excluded his paintings, but gave a very good variety of all of his other works and mediums. It also did a very good job of telling the story of his life. There's also one section in particular that I wanted to talk about, which was a section about his different lovers. So Picasso only had 2 official wives. There are 2 portraits in the exhibition, one of them of Marie Therese Walter and the other one of Dora Maar. And these 2 women were important to Picasso because during his first marriage with Olga, he was seeing Marie Theresa, who was only 17 at the time when they first met in 1926. They were having an affair, and they ended up having a daughter together named Maya. Then 10 years later, Dora became a mistress, and Picasso was seeing both women at the same time. By this point, his wife Olga was, of course, angry with him, so they were separated but not divorced because Olga refused to divorce him due to financial situations. So Picasso had to legally support her and the son that they had together until Olga died in 1955. So, life of an artist. Near the end of the exhibition, it shows how Picasso was starting to take a political stance through his art, particularly with the end of the Spanish Civil War. He created the famous peace dove for the poster of the World Peace Congress, which became a symbol of the peace movement. Overall, the Picasso exhibition was very large. It had a lot of different works from Picasso. I definitely feel like it gave a good explanation of the artist's work, even though there weren't any of his famous paintings, but his drawings and etchings are almost as famous as his paintings. As it's getting closer to the start of the opera, I went downstairs to look at the cafes. There's a couple of cafes downstairs where you can kind of chill and relax between all of the art exhibitions. There's also a children's area where they have some children's activities. You can see that this, on the day that I went, they were set up for some music activity. The opera is held in the Turk Telekom Opera Hall. I have never been in this hall before. This is my first time. It's very modern and can hold up to 2,000 people. There are 3 levels for seating. I was on the ground floor, also in the 4th row. I only paid 470 lira for my ticket, but obviously this price depends on the performance, the day, the time, the location of the seat. So the price obviously will change depending on those factors. The opera that I was seeing is called La Traviata, which is an Italian opera. They do have subtitles in Turkish and English above the stage, so you can understand what is going on. The program for the opera is on a QR code, so you just scan the QR code and you can have it on your phone. Unfortunately, the program was just in Turkish, so I had to translate it, which isn't really a problem, but it would be nice if it was also in English. The opera itself was very easy to understand and follow the story. This is a brief synopsis of what happens. The main character, Violetta, has just recovered from an illness. She's throwing a party, and while she was sick, her lover, Alfredo, claims that he was at her bedside The whole time she was ill and hoping for her quick recovery, they ended up falling in love, but his father does not accept this relationship, and he asks her to break up with him. She obviously refuses, but she gives in for the sake of the family honor, and she breaks up with him through a letter. When he finds out the true reason for her breaking up with him, it's too late. Her illness is more severe the second time, and she's dying of tuberculosis, so Alfredo cannot do anything to save her, and it's a tragic love story. So that was my experience at the Ataturk Cultural Center. I spent the entire afternoon there. It's definitely a big place. Depending on the exhibitions that are happening, you can spend the whole day like me there. Definitely good for a rainy day. If you want to buy tickets to any of the events, you can look them up on the Ataturk Cultural Center website or the Istanbul State Opera and Ballet website. I will link both of them below. Hope you guys enjoyed the little tour of the Ataturk Cultural Center, and I'll see you guys next time.